Victoria. I am back with 2 a.m. musical. Tonight is Victor Victoria. Now, if you're new to the series, I spent an entire summer before high school watching every single MGM musical at Blockbuster Video, and it was all for this moment. It was to share my favorites with you, and tonight I'm going to share with you Victor Victoria. Now, Victor Victoria is set in Paris. That's the beret. It stars Robert Preston, Julie Andrews, James Gardner, the original Maverick, and Leslie Ann Warren, and The Girl Can Move. So let's go to Paris. Our story begins with Toddy, our aging gay performer in 1934 Art Deco Paris. He comes in early one night and catches a very struggling female singer, Victoria Grant, auditioning for the club owner. Now, the club owner is not impressed with Miss Victoria Grant, and he basically just throws her out. Before she leaves, and to Toddy's astonishment, she actually gives us a little taste of exactly what her voice can do.
Perfect.
What in hell was that?
B flat.
So our down and out vocalist returns to her hotel only to find that she has been evicted because she cannot pay her rent and she is literally on the streets. Meanwhile, Toddy returns to his house and sees that his very young lover is basically robbing him. Jerk. Both are not having the best of days. Later that night, Toddy is strolling past a Paris cafe and he sees the young Victoria Grant in the window and she is having a feast. Intrigued, he comes in and they start to talk. As it turns out, Toddy finds out, to his astonishment, that Victoria Grant is broke, she is on the streets, and she is having a 7-course meal at this Paris cafe. What? How is she going to pay for that? Oh, she's not. Sit down and join me, because by the time the last course gets to me, which is the salad, which is really kind of weird, but okay, that's fine. She's going to put a cockroach in her salad. She's going to make a big fuss. They're going to get it for free. Stick with me, Toddy. You can't go wrong. Enjoy your meal. Well, it didn't go quite as planned. And actually, it turned into a brawl. So Toddy and Victoria run off into the streets of Paris in the pouring rain. Love it. And so a great friendship is born. They go to Toddy's apartment. He says, you can stay here. They take off their wet clothes. Wait a minute. I know what you're thinking. They sit on the edge of the bath and put their feet in the warm water, cover up with warm blankets, and talk to each other as they're drinking wine. It's fantastic. Try it. If you're ever having a bad day, call a friend up. You guys just go stick your feet in a bathtub of warm water and drink some wine. Next morning, Victoria gets up and she's thanking Toddy and she's on her way out and she goes to put on her dress and her coat and of course the rain-soaked clothes tears and so she cannot go out in this ripped dress. Okay, she cannot go out in public in this ripped dress. So Toddy says, don't worry, just put on these clothes. These are my boyfriend that tried to rob me last night. They actually fit her and she looks perfect. So as she is getting dressed, Toddy's boyfriend comes back. Yeah, and he's a jerk and he's just being hateful. And Victoria, who is dressed as a man, comes out of the closet dressed in his dapper clothes and punches him in the face. Yeah. Toddy is inspired and he has a vision. Why not pass Victoria off as a female impersonator? Maybe she can get a gig that way. And he'll take her to Andre Cassetti and he will pitch the idea. So what you've got is you've got a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman, pretending to be a man. And it's gold. So after a little cut of the hair, after Toddy shows her how to move, it's all with the shoulders, shoulders, shoulders. See, I even learned watching Victor Victoria. She is ready. And thus we have Victoria Grant down and out soprano. And now Victor is born, and he is a Polish count. Yes, that's right. They made him royalty. Why not? And before you know it, it's opening night. And check this out.
So, baby, the jazz hot may be what's holding my soul together.
It's fantastic, right? Just in the audience, there is a man and a woman that are taking notice of Victoria, and that would be a Chicago gangster named King Marchand. Now, King Marchand takes a liking to Victoria, and of course, his ditzy girlfriend can see that he's taking a liking to her, and she's not too impressed with that, and claws out. Until Victoria takes her bow. And I always thought that there was a moment that the character Victoria thought, wow, they love me. What if I just walked off right now? But she couldn't do that to Toddy. Now could she? Mm-mm.
Watch this. It's a guy.
So, of course, at the curtain call, Victoria reveals herself as Victor, Count Rosinski. And King Marchand is confused. I mean, how could he have possibly have found a man attractive? Of course, his girlfriend, Norma Cassidy, is thrilled because now she knows she has absolutely no competition. And just let me say that Robert Preston's laugh is just probably one of the best laughs I've ever heard in my life. And you can completely feel his joy as he has triumphed with this facade. It's fantastic. After the show, we have a meet and greet, as one does. And King Marchand actually comes up to Victor and says, hey, I'm not buying it. I don't think you're a man at all. I think this is all a scam. So thus sets King Marchand on a mission to prove that Victor is not a man, and that would explain the reason why he was attracted to Victoria on stage. So King Marchand figured it all out. Well, he figured it all out based on his ego that he's a Chicago gangster and would never be attracted to a man, even if it was dressed as a woman. So we're going on that for a little while. Toddy and Victor, or Victoria, or Count Rosinski, it's really hard to keep up with all these names. They are not ruffled at all, except for, of course, Victoria thinks that King Marchand, James Gardner, is incredibly attractive, which who wouldn't, right? But the show must go on, and it does.
There was once a shady dame from Seville. From Seville.
King Marchand's stay in Paris is not turning out how he thought it was going to be. Of course, he's brought Norma along, and she's starting to annoy him. Of course, we learned that it really wasn't his idea to bring Norma along, but I mean, she's here, let's make the best of it. No, not really. It just doesn't go that far. Norma likes to run her mouth a lot, and she likes to talk about things that King Marchand would basically not want to discuss, thus his attraction to a man that was dressed as a woman and other things. But King Marchand has a perfect solution on how to shut Norma up. I do not recommend this by any means to anyone.
Look out!
And Norma, of course, in turn responds appropriately. And so he sends Norma back to Chicago, where Norma, Leslie Ann Warren, yes, I love this performance, starts her own floor show in Chicago. Not Chicago the musical, in Chicago, Illinois. Enjoy.
Say, hey, I'm from Shy, singing Chicago
I mean, the kicks are fantastic, and Leslie Ann Warren could move. She's adorable, she is brilliant as this character, and I just love her. After seeing Norma's floor show, she decides to tell the head of, I guess, the crime family? I don't know what the politically correct term is to use. Well, she tells another gangster, okay, that King Marchand is in Paris and he's trying to hook up with another man. Yeah, that doesn't go over very well. They're going to have to go to Paris and check this out for themselves. And so they're on their way. But meanwhile, Toddy and Victoria and King Marchand are having a pretty good time in Paris. He is going to the clubs to see them perform, and we get this performance between Robert Preston and Julie Andrews, and the heart and soul of this musical is not the love story between King Marchand and Victoria. It is the unbreakable friendship and unconditional love that Toddy and Victoria share, and they show it in this scene right here.
Together, me harmony, year after year. Won't we, my dear? We'll always be you and walk this way. May
Tomorrow comes
with
no guarantee. You're leaving again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Leave each other
For company.
Of course, all good things must come to an end, because at the end of this dance number, Toddy's good-for-nothing ex-boyfriend walks in, and Toddy and Victoria decide to trip him and start a brawl. So the cops are called, and it's a raid, and King Marchand actually gets Victoria out of the club, and they run down a very dark and secluded alleyway, and King Marchand says, "I really don't care if you're a man," and kisses her. And at that point, Victoria cannot stand it and reveals her secret that he knew all the time. Whether it was by his ego or instinct, it doesn't matter. And they go home. And James Gardner in that tux is just fantastic. So as promised, Norma has jumped on a plane with the gangster from Chicago, and he has come to check out Norma's story. So if what Norma says is true, all the Chicago gangsters are no longer going to back King Marchand. Which, would that be bad? I mean, isn't this a point where he falls in love with the woman and he makes good? No, that's The Godfather. No, that actually didn't happen in The Godfather either. Victoria decides to take it upon herself to reveal the truth to Norma in the only way she knows how.
What are you doing? Oh my God. Oh, what is that? What are you, oh God.
And of course, Norma reacts not well.
You two-timing son of a bitch! He's a woman!
You know, it was okay if she lost King Marchand to a man, but now that she's figured out that she's lost King Marchand to a woman, it's on. So how is this going to end? Well, first of all, do they send Norma back to Chicago, or what happens there? Because that could be an entirely different musical. Because I could totally go for Leslie Ann Warren in a couple other scenes during her own floor show. I'm just saying. Will King Marchand and Victoria get to be together? How is this all going to end? What's going to happen to Toddy? This was his enterprise. Well, guess what? The show must go on. And it includes this.
There was once a shady day from Seville. You were marvelous. And I never want to see any of you again.
So how is it going to end? Guess what? You're going to have to rent the movie. Enjoy. And Robert Preston, you had the most joyous laugh I've ever heard. Thank you for that.